Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast, just in case you're not familiar with us. You are here with myself, Andy, and co-host and beautiful man extraordinaire, David Cochran, next to me here. And of course, welcome to Why So Sidious on this lovely Sunday morning, Sunday evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. We are going to be chatting about Marvel Zombies today, but before we get into that, make sure that you're jumping online and following Why So Sidious on TikTok, Instagram, X, obviously here on YouTube. You can catch it over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart. Wherever you catch your podcast, you will find Why So Sidious. Don't forget as well, Christmas is coming up, so jump into the merch store as well. Get yourself a hoodie, get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself something Why So Sidious, just to show some support to your favourite podcasts, because we need it. Dave needs some better internet. Caleb needs a laptop. There's so many things. Me and JD have got various kids to support. There's lots that we all need your money for. So please show some compassion this Christmas. Give it to people that don't really need it. Okay, that would be beautiful. But yeah, Dave, how you doing today?
Doing good. As long as the internet does good, I'm doing good. We are here on a beautiful Sunday morning, and I'm ready to talk about some undead creatures.
So yes, Marvel Zombies, that is the exact reason why we are here today. Obviously the show was out a little while ago. It's taken us a little while to get around to it, but that's no problem. It's never too late to chat about anything, to be fair, is it? So but Marvel Zombies follows on from What If. So obviously the animated What If series, season 1 of What If as well, which we're going back a while for. This is where the series originates from, because there was a zombies episode in there where a virus is broken out from the quantum realm, a quantum virus, by Ant-Man Senior. For some reason, his name has escaped my brain. It always happens right at the minute I want to talk about someone. Their fucking name escapes out of my head. Michael Douglas's character. You know who I'm talking about. Hank Pym. That's the one. I don't know where he's gone in my head. He comes out, starts infecting people in the Avengers, and basically it spreads like wildfire. But let's just chat about that episode first. So the original What If Zombies episode, what did you reckon to that, Dave?
I think I remember enjoying it. I think that was one of the episodes I liked. I should have gone back and watched those before watching this Marvel Zombies show. I mean, it's literally the start of the story. Marvel Zombies episode 1, it picks up from that. It does not explain really anything what happened before, and you would have thought that I'd go back and watch that, but I didn't. But I feel like I remember enjoying the Marvel Zombies, saying it was a little bit different than what I expected, but for the small amount of screen time we got in the What If season 1, I thought they did some fun creative stuff. But it had the same issue. They did some fun creative stuff, but it still felt like they could have done a lot of crazier stuff, which felt like the opportunity with this Marvel Zombies project to go deeper into it.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that episode, to be fair, because a lot of people ask where were the Avengers in the Marvel Zombies, and that's the episode that kind of explains what happened to them and the fact that they all pretty much went down pretty damn quick, to be fair. So it does give obviously a bit of, I think they explained a little bit at the start of this one, basically, or more about how the virus happened rather than what happened in general, like in that episode.
Right.
But that episode was pretty badass, wasn't it? I mean, because obviously we see a lot of the heroes going around. We get to see Spider-Man with Doctor Strange's cape. Obviously Bucky's there. Like the Wasp is there. She becomes gigantic zombie in the end, which was quite amusing. Obviously we saw the Hulk a little bit. We see Vision, and obviously the fact that he had Wanda locked away and was just feeding her people to keep her satiated to stop her breaking out. And then obviously this group are the one that basically wake her up. And so it just goes on from there, really, doesn't it? So this starts off 5 years later, Marvel Zombie. So we're following a small group of some of the younger survivors on their way to stop the zombie plague that has devastated Earth. Their mission leads them to risking traveling across the dystopian landscape, fighting superpowered zombies, trying to save the world, and get a message out to the Nova Corps because they have the tech that can come and help them. So as we start off in episode 1, we start off with 3 young survivors. So we've got Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, Kate Bishop, and Ironheart, Riri Williams. And we got Friday flying around in an automated Iron Man suit as well, with a teddy for a head. That was pretty random.
Classic.
And they're in New York, and we see them trying to get obviously supplies and stuff. And then a downed Shield Quinjet crashes in New York, and they're trying to get out to it to see what's cracking. And they're sort of attacked by zombie Hawkeye as well, which is quite cool. But the zombies here seem to have a bit more sentience, maybe, than the ones that we saw in the What If episode. They seem to sort of still know what's going on and still be fairly intelligent to a certain degree, but they just seem to, obviously be zombies. So, and it turns out, because I didn't know this at the time, it took me a little bit of research to find out, but obviously they go to the Quinjet, don't they? And they find that there's like a little key stuck inside the guy that's crashed, the guy that was piloting. Turns out that was Eric Selvig from the Thor movies, which I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
No, it took me a little bit of research, because everyone was like, who is this guy? Who is it supposed to be? Is it just a random like S.H.I.E.L.D. agent? Who is it? Turns out it's supposed to be Eric Selvig. But yeah, so episode 1, it focuses more on this little trio and their survival in New York and sort of coming across zombie Hawkeye. What did you reckon to it?
Yeah, so I will say, first I'll speak on Kamala. When we first got word that she was going to be the main character we followed through the TVMA Marvel Zombies, I remember thinking, that doesn't fit. Why would you choose the young adult, like, almost kind of children's side of the MCU as the main character for this brutal, mature project they're about to do? Watching it, I guess I understood. I didn't. It worked better for me than I thought it would, I guess I'll say, as far as Kamala being the main point of it. Yeah, episode 1 was fine. The zombies, to me, you mentioned, they seem smarter than they were in the past. I think that, and they feel more like they've got the rage virus from 28 Days Later, more so than they're zombies, because they remember how to use their powers. They use them strategically and well, and it's not like zombie Iron Man is just rage blasting stuff all over the place. Like, he's aiming and firing his repulsor blast. They're doing stuff consciously, so they come off a lot more I guess just intelligent and strategic than your normal zombies. So that's one thing, but that makes it fun, because it wouldn't be as fun having a zombie Iron Man who's mindless and is just running into walls and biting at stuff. It's fun having these different variations of zombies with different powers, and it's just like, what if these heroes that we're so familiar with were just raging maniacs and just were trying to kill everybody? And you get some pretty cool scenes out of it. So I like that they went with that, and I like the whole Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, and Ironheart more than I thought I would. I feel like it probably could have been better, but I didn't dislike it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When we're starting off and it's Miss Marvel, Lionheart, and Kate Bishop being the 3 that we're following, I was like, okay, is this another one of those, with all due respect, like the female-led show where they're just doing it for the sake of it? And I'm like, I hope they have a better part to play. Like, how did you feel about the Miss Marvel TV show, by the way? Did you ever watch it?
I did. I wasn't crazy about it. I thought there were good parts of it. It wasn't so much that it was a bad show. It just wasn't my style. But I saw some good bits in it.
I actually quite enjoyed it, to be fair. I know, older white male, this wasn't the demographic they were going for with that TV show. But I still enjoyed it. It's Marvel at the end of the day. It's heroes and stuff, and there's obviously stuff I can still relate to. It's not like I wasn't a teenager once. I didn't just appear one day and I was like 40. So I can still associate with it to a certain degree. But yeah, what I do think is that I've always enjoyed the things that Ms. Marvel's done. Like, I know some people, like, for example, weren't crazy about the Marvels film. With the 3 of them in that. Again, I didn't think it was the worst thing that we've seen from Marvel by a long way. It was just pretty meh. It was average, run of the mill. There was nothing special about it, but it wasn't like the most shocking thing that we've had in recent times from Marvel either. So I've enjoyed things that she's done. So I was thinking, this could be good. Because I don't know if you ever got round to playing the Avengers the Avengers game.
Marvel's
that came
Avengers,
out.
No.
Yeah. So she has a pretty decent part to play in that as well. So they have pushed her to the forefront quite a lot recently over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. And I've enjoyed everything she's done, to be fair. So,
and I will say about the show, it's not even her character that didn't fit. My biggest gripes with the show actually was more so the action and CGI and use of her powers in the show. If they felt like there were a lot of corny moments with her powers, herself, her family, the Pakistani plot line and her heritage there, all of that I thought was written well for the show itself. I was like, yeah, I didn't. The corny lines, the villain was awful. The CGI was pretty rough for me. So seeing her in Marvel Zombies with an animated, a more free leash on using her powers without it looking maybe a little goofy with CGI, I thought it worked a lot better in this format.
Yeah. And I thought I really enjoyed following these characters through it for the most part. It's definitely some surprises in this first episode as well. So after they've obviously got that that computer drive and from the inside of Eric Selvig, and they go like, we've got to go out to like Ohio somewhere to see what's cracking, or something we can do out there. And they go along the way, they seeing obviously like devastation, and you see that sort of like big round almost like channel, I guess, that's been carved through the rock, and you're like, what's going on here? Because like everyone that's ever gone through there has never come back, sort of situation. They're like, well, we're not turning back, let's go out there. And we find a zombified Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, out there. I have questions as to how she got infected, because she's like pretty invulnerable to like being bitten, I would have thought. So unless like someone held her down and spat in her mouth, in a non-sexual way, of course. I don't know how she got infected. I really don't.
I would say, and I do. I a lot of these heroes you think, and I have a big. I'll get to one of my biggest issues with this series later on in the series of the season. But that is a major problem. How are some of these ultra indestructible skin type people getting infected by zombies when humans survive zombie infections and apocalypses? But the only thing I'll think of is, well, if the Wasp or Ant-Man was a zombie, then I guess they could get small enough to go inside them and infect them. I guess that's my only thought, and that's a pretty cheap way of writing it. But yeah, that's a glaring plot hole as far as how did some of these characters get infected by just your run-of-the-mill zombies. Not even Asgard hasn't even been infected yet. It's just run-of-the-mill zombies and some superheroes. But yeah, it makes you wonder.
Well, I have a theory that we'll get to it because it ties into one of the other episodes of when people get infected. So I might have an answer for it. But but basically, yeah. So they're like, what's going on here? She's fighting someone, and it turns out she's been locked in a 5-year battle with Icarus from Eternals. He's looking pretty damaged and worn down, and he's basically been keeping her busy for 5 years non-stop. Good. And he can obviously run for a long time. He can take a lot of damage. But at some point, it's going to get to a phase where he would eventually get beaten and she would be unleashed, and then that would be it for the end of the earth, pretty much. Even if Wanda wasn't there to do it, she would pretty much do this on her own. Dude, so that was great. I thought that was badass.
Awesome. The lore of it, the fact they've been fighting for 5 years. I think they called the area the Valley of the Broken Gods, where they were fighting constantly, which is such an epic name. But the scene, not only seeing this crazy, just massive, powerful fight between Captain Marvel and Icarus, when Kate's running away, or where they're all running away, seeing them fighting, and it's just you're seeing these two massive superpowered beings that can level cities with the flick of a finger fighting each other, and just it was like horrifying. It was shot really well for an animated scene where it was like I felt stressed, like what it was crazy seeing the power levels of these two beings fighting. So I thought this was super cool. And we got a pretty cool character introduced in this. So yeah, I love this part of this episode.
And we also get our first, I guess, major death of the series at this moment as well, when Kate Bishop is sort of wiped out essentially straight away by Captain Marvel. Just gone. Just no fucking chance, because let's face it, she's got no power. She's not surviving for that long. I'm surprised she lasted 5 years, to be fair. Yeah, that was a pretty badass thing to do it, because obviously, if people know me at all, they know I like a lot of death in my things. I like major characters to be wiped out. I think it's always so unrealistic. So many of the big heroes make it through all these big battles, and virtually none of them ever get killed off unless it's, Endgame. So to have like one of the protagonists that you're following straight from the off be one of the first ones killed as well, I thought that was a great moment to have in it. So they obviously find out as well that this thing is a transmitter, or they need a transmitter, to broadcast a signal to the Nova Corps in outer space, and they have to do it. And to do it, they have to get this signal past. Excuse me, that's my tea coming back up. They have to get it past the atmosphere of the Earth, and this is where we sort of obviously get an explanation as to what's. They keep talking about the Wakanda incident. And I can't remember if it's this episode or another one where we get explained what happened, but there was almost like a tribute here as well to Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther. because they basically explained to us that that obviously when the zombie apocalypse was sweeping over the earth, Thanos turned up with most of the Infinity Stones, and was obviously, because of the zombie apocalypse going on, there was no Wakandan army or battle to try and stop him from taking any of the Infinity Stones. So he pretty much just rocks up and grabs them, and he's got a full gauntlet pretty much of Infinity Stones, and Black Panther's fighting him. I can't remember if there was someone else there fighting him as well. I didn't put that in my notes. I thought there might have been one other person that was there fighting with him.
There was. Oh God, who was that?
But anyway, they're fighting, but what they're realizing is that Thanos is actually getting smarter and working out how to use the stones as they're fighting. And so there's only one thing they can do, which is Black Panther basically sacrifices himself by jumping with Thanos into the vibranium core of Wakanda with all the stones. And it sets off this massive this cosmic explosion, which basically puts this like radiation barrier into the atmosphere around the Earth, so you can't really pass it without getting harmed. And it was cool that they sort of like, whilst obviously like, I don't think Black Panther had any speaking lines in this, but again, I felt like it was a tribute to the passing of Chadwick Boseman in a way, because they gave him like a really heroic ending, like sacrificing himself to save the Earth essentially, or possibly even the universe by sending himself to his own death with Thanos. So I thought that was pretty cool. But then they're like saying how the power being unleashed by the stone is needed to be contained. And so turns out Hulk sacrifices himself because he jumps down into that hole and basically takes all the power, the infinity power, into himself. And he just basically now sits at the bottom of this hole containing that power within himself. And so he can't ever leave or can't let it escape him because it would ruin the Earth again. So what do you think to all that sort of setup of that story of basically this is what happened with the Infinity Stones and the Wakanda event, as they called it?
I love the Wakanda event. So I do remember now it was Thor. Thor was involved. Spider-Man and Black Panther were fighting him. And then Thor came down with the classic Infinity War entrance with Groot and Rocket, who both got incinerated. It was like instantly and just straight up died. Right off the bat, Thor, Rocket, Groot show up and Rocket just absolutely wrecked. But yeah, Thor was on, and that's why Thor's face, like half of it gets burned off from that blast that kills Rocket and Groot. So that whole fight with Thanos there as he's learning, and the narration worked well. They're narrating it as Thanos continues to fight. He's beginning to learn more about the soul and the reality stones. And so I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a really cool setup. We left off with Thanos and Wakanda the last time we saw Marvel Zombies in the What If season. So it was cool to touch back on that. I think all of it was really cool until the Hulk thing. I don't think they landed the Hulk aspect of this whole thing, but the Wakandan fight and everything that led up to it, I did really enjoy.
What was it about the Hulk thing that you didn't like?
I guess I don't mind the way they used him as a net to kind of trap all this, massive, insane cosmic power. But I felt like they didn't land the execution of seeing a Hulk consumed by all this cosmic power. It felt like we still got Hulk kind of dampened down. And then I felt like for an animated series where it's like, we can finally see Hulk unleashed, we haven't seen it in the MCU. That's been a major problem. What now you're telling me he's infused with all of the Infinity Stones? Oh, and he's still getting scratched by zombies and he's getting gassed. He's throwing punches and like, what? Oh, come on, man. Let him live, man. I don't know. Let him do a thunderclap and change reality. I don't know. Do something crazy. But he just was throwing hooks at zombies and getting tired. It was like, this is Infinity Hulk. I don't know. I thought he'd be crazier, but so yeah, that felt like a big letdown to me. That was the part where our friend and fellow co-host JD, I was thinking of him during it going, he's going to hate this. If he makes it to this point of the series, he is not going to enjoy the way Hulk is used here. I'm curious to
JD's never been a particular fan of how they've used Hulk in the MCU, is he? So
no, not quite. No.
So yeah, we get Kate Bishop killed off at the end of that episode. And in episode 2 then, so this focuses on like their road trip to the SHIELD base in Ohio, and also we get to see the sort of setup of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings in this episode. So We've got Shang-Chi, Katie Chen, and also Jimmy Woo, the FBI agent that we see from Ant-Man and from WandaVision and stuff, who's always been a fun character to turn up at various different points. So it sort of goes back to when the zombie apocalypse happened. It finally puts them in the same city as Ant-Man as well, which is the first time we've seen in MCU canon that they've acknowledged that Shang-Chi and Ant-Man are technically in the same city, because obviously that's where the Pym base was, wasn't it, where everything sort of kicked off from. So but we see obviously they're trying to outrun the zombies, and then his dad shows up with some of his croonies and stuff, and they're fighting off all the zombies and whatever. And then his dad, that's it, Shang-Chi gets bitten, doesn't he? And his dad like throws like a ring on him to stop it from going up his arm, and then he sacrifices himself and gives his son all the 10 rings so he can escape and carry on. So what do you reckon to the introduction of Shang-Chi and stuff here?
So I like that moment with his dad. You know, he says, "You soft-hearted fool," and then he throws him the rings. Which at first you think he's calling his son that, but I'm pretty sure he was calling himself that because he's just sacrificing his thousands of years of life because his son got bit. And he's like, "Damn it, now I'm giving away my rings, and I'm gonna die now because my son had to get bit by a freaking zombie." So I like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw Katie, Awkwafina's character, brought into this episode and instantly was like, son of a bitch. Why? I can't stand that character. And so as soon as we got her and it was voiced by Awkwafina and I realized we were getting an entire episode with her in it, I was not super stoked on that. And my final point on this, it sounds like I hated it. I didn't quite hate it, but Shang-Chi, maybe not the most practical superhero to be fighting in a zombie apocalypse, considering as all of his fight tactics have to do with putting his feet and hands close to people's faces. It's not exactly ideal for an outbreak which zombies are biting at your hands and feet and arms and limbs. And we see right there, he got bit. So him throwing all the kung fu punches was cool for a second, but it's like you can only kung fu so many zombies before one of them bites your ankle. I don't know.
Yeah, fair point. I didn't really think about that. If you're fighting for zombie apocalypse, you want to be someone that's got a gun or or a good superpower,
some
not
range.
Just fighting them off with some kung fu. But I suppose once you've got the 10 rings, because we saw his dad do it, didn't he? Just using the rings to just wipe out hordes of them at a time. So once he's got the rings, it's all good. But yeah, how Katie and Jimmy survive these 5 years is a mystery to me. Because just running, I mean, because we get to see them because it goes forward the 5 years, doesn't it? And they've got like a Mad Max group where they're just going around in their armored vehicles. Like how petrol has survived 5 years into the future, I don't know, because that would expire after like 2 or 3. So how they're still driving cars and shit around in the zombie apocalypse, I really don't know. Not that this is realism and I'm going for realism here, but I'm just saying you've got to factor this shit in, surely. So you're just driving around, fucking Mad Max style, just killing things and just beheading shit and just having fun with it and stuff. Was this random out of place? Did you expect to see them like this in like the 5-year future bit?
Super out of place. I mean, we went to the wasteland, so that was kind of cool because there's a lot of different times that we go across Marvel Wasteland and different event stories, whether it's Old Man Logan or other apocalyptic stuff where you've got all these areas that are now ran by either the Hulks or this time, I don't know, it was the Skrulls that were out there kind of running things and the Mad Max setup. So it's always kind of fun to explore that, but they didn't do anything new and unique with it that I really felt was mind-blowing. So I think episode 2, well, it was my least favorite episode. Again, it was not a great opener, but I did think it finished pretty strong. I thought this was a crazy ending to this episode, but yeah, the whole wasteland desert thing, could have done without.
What was it? Just elaborate a bit more on what you were saying about the ending. What was it you liked about that?
So the ending of that episode is where they end up boarding the raft, I believe. And so they find this whole setup where people are hidden in there. They go in there and they find out that zombie Namor is down in the sea terrorizing, and he breaks through, and it turns into a horror event. You know, it's this zombie Namor who's absolutely overpowered, just ripping through people. And then at the end of it, Yelena makes this incredible, very touching, I guess it was meant to be very touching. I don't know how needed it was. But Yelena makes a sacrifice, and we got a good voice acting from Alexei. I don't know if that was David Harbour doing Alexei's voice.
Yeah,
it was. Okay, good voice acting. I believed it. It felt emotional when he sees Yelena sacrifice herself. So that and the action and the chaos with the zombie Namor thing, that was a fun end of the episode for me.
Yeah, I mean, revealing that obviously you've got Namor and the rest of his companions down there all zombified already, and he's just sitting on his throne, and he's just being called to action essentially by Wanda in a way, isn't he? Was absolutely fucking mental. Just seeing tearing through. I mean, yeah, going back to obviously that bit where they all arrive at the raft. So you've got obviously, you know, Shang-Chi and his Mad Max men all arrive to get on the raft, and that's where you've obviously got you got Ironheart and Ms. Marvel, and like you said, you got like Alexei and God, why is the name just gone out of my head again? Yelena, sorry,
Yelena.
And their group are all there, all getting on, and Zemo's the one running the raft, of all people, which is meant. But it's quite cool that they're like, we're using the raft as like a life vessel essentially, and we can just go into the depths and hide from the zombie apocalypse. We just come aboard every now and again to replenish ranks and get some more stuff.
I mean, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Going underwater, the only thing that doesn't make it perfect is the fact that there's a terrifying superpowered being who lives underwater. Other than that, it's pretty perfect. But dude, Zombie Namor, and that's another thing. I want to see if JD at least got to this point, because he's a big fan of Namor as well. And I know I keep switching the pronunciation from Namor to Namor. I don't know if we're doing the comic pronunciation or Wakanda Forever. I don't know. I don't know how it's said anymore. But I think he would enjoy this, because seeing those red eyes and sharp teeth of him as he's coming up and how fast he was, and he's just tearing people apart. It was just very intimidating. But it leads us to the question we've talked about. Who the hell infected him? Who went underwater and was able to bite through that skin and infect this man? That's what I want to know. Show me how he got infected.
You got to think it was probably Wanda.
I guess, yeah.
Because she's like the only one probably powerful enough to like infect all these ones, to be fair.
Right.
I mean, we sort of missed a huge chunk out here, to be fair. We were talking about the attack on the Shield base when Ms. Marvel and Ironheart finally get there, Riri Williams. Because that's how we meet, obviously, Alexei and Yelena, and their mum was there as well, whose name I always forget because she's boring.
Yeah,
Melina.
It's something like
Melina.
There you go, Melina. Okay, I was gonna say Melania.
Should have said it's on my notes in front of me, to be fair. But yeah, so the fact that so we missed out on chatting about this. So there's the attack on the Shield base, because you've got the Wakandan army being led by, oh my god, why is everyone's name disappearing out my head? Obviously, literally, I should have written half this in my fucking notes. The names just are escaping me.
Okoye.
Thank you.
Okoye.
I just needed the first letter. She's leading because again, she's pretty sentient to this whole thing. It's not like she's like completely zombified out of her head. Probably, obviously, because she's being controlled by Scarlet Witch, to be fair, so it's given her some clarity of mind. But she leads an army attacking on the Shield base. So we get the likes of Hawkeye, Ghost, even Abomination shows up, a zombified Abomination. Again, question marks over how Abomination can get infected, perhaps if he can't break through his skin. But then we also get a returning character from the What If Zombie Marvels episode, which was half of Captain America shows up. And the dude is rapid on two legs. On two hands. He's just fucking so quick. It was just mental. The fact that, so they send Abomination in, they're just sending the armies in. Captain America's sent in there, and he has a good fight with Alexei, who ends up defeating him by basically has him on his back and just jumps on his back to squish him.
I mean, that was a fun little nod. Obviously, we've had Alexei talking about fighting Captain America since his first introduction in the Black Widow movie. So it's hilarious to see him finally get the fates off, even though it's only half of Captain America and he's half dead. He got him. So that was a funny little nod.
And Melina sacrifices herself here as well. So this was like this episode's sacrifice.
Sorry? Or did Melina too?
No, at the Shield base, Melina's the one that locks everyone out and keeps herself locked in with them, so she can let them all escape to go and find the raft.
Oh, they
Yelena
did the same
sacrificed
exact
herself on
thing.
the raft later on. So yeah, Melina sacrificed herself here so they can escape. Yelena sacrificed herself on the raft. So the whole family's going for it, to be fair. And it's just funny seeing the fact that Zemo's in charge of the raft, but once all the shit kicks off, he's got no real power or ability to really stop anything apart from trying to escape and save his sorry ass, which he does every time anyway. It's always funny to me that the minute the shit hits the fan and he can't really do anything, he turns into that snivelling little guy that just piggybacks off everyone else trying to survive. Which I suppose is one of his qualities in a way. He's a survivor. But so once the shit kicks off and they manage to escape, they're like, right, so where can we go? And they're like, let's go to one place where we know there's probably nobody infected. So they decide to go to New Asgard, which brings us to obviously the next episode. So episode 3.
Quick, before we head in, sorry, I'm a little delayed. The internet's taking a little dump. Real quick, we there was one thing we didn't bring up yet, which I kind of wanted to bring up. It was one of the cooler aspects of the show, and we saw him in episode 1 and the end of it, I believe. But we got Blade Knight.
Blade
Oh
Knight, God, sure. Yeah, sorry.
We got Blade and Moon Knight hybrid with Mahershala Ali. Awesome design for a character. I mean, this dude looks freaking sweet. It was perfect for me. The design of his character looked freaking awesome for a Moon Knight / Blade hybrid character. And he was pretty badass throughout it. He had some really cool fight scenes with the sword. I had a lot of fun with that character, so I wanted to mention him before we got any further there. He was pretty sweet.
No, good call. For some reason, I don't have him written on my character list, which is a shambles because he was one of the best ones of the entire series.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, just the fact that he's just there. Everyone thinks he's fucking nuts because they just don't believe that he's like an avatar of Khonshu or anything like that. And he's just rocking up. And then that obviously pays off when they do turn up to New Asgard. And Valkyrie's obviously the one in charge there, and she's like telling them to get lost and whatever, and then until like Khonshu appears, she's like, "Khonshu, you old codger, what are you doing here? Didn't know you were still alive," sort of thing. And they allow them in, and they obviously see the fact they've got all the Asgardians safe in there, and they're like chomping away, having a big feast and partying and whatever. And then you've got Thor, who since that battle in Wakanda is basically just sat on his throne and done nothing. Like, just sits there, doesn't talk to anyone, just drinks and eats, and that's it. He's just completely shut down, which is ridiculous, to be fair. Yeah, well, he's got a knack for it, but it's also just ridiculous. I don't believe he'd shut down that to that degree.
Yeah.
But this is where it all obviously then kicks off for them, because Valkyrie's just like, I don't know what we're talking about. You know, we've got a friend here. We've got Wanda here. She's our friend. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? She's the enemy. They're not at all. She's working with us. She's going to help cure. She's cured herself. She's obviously appearing in a normal form. And then obviously it's like a bit like in, I guess, Multiverse of Madness, when reality disperses and you get the real image of what's going on. And it turns out that she's basically been providing food for all the Asgardians, but it's infected zombie meat. Which is a way you could probably maybe say that is how she's infected other people. Captain Marvel, for example, she got fed some infected zombie meat and got it that way. Same for Abomination, perhaps. That was what I was thinking earlier when we were talking like, how did people like Captain Marvel get infected? And like, okay, so it's not just being bitten by them. Like, there's other ways to do it. So this is where the shit kicks off. And yeah, so what did you reckon to the whole New Asgard bit? They're all feasting on zombie meat and turned into zombies themselves then.
Okay, sorry. So that was horrifying, but it was a good plan. I mean, that's pretty smart by Wanda to infect godlike strength beings in order to help your army here. So the strategy of it made sense, and it kind of made Wanda that much more horrifying. And she is horrifying. That was the best part of Marvel Zombies when we first got it in What If. It was the reveal of the design of this zombie queen Wanda. I thought it was terrifying, and I'm glad we're getting more of it in this. I even for a split second, which I don't know why, was like, okay, maybe this is a normal version of Wanda. Like, I don't know. I've seen Multiverse of Madness. I've seen this evil Wanda. I don't know why for a split second I was like, maybe there's something here. Clearly that wasn't the case. But yeah, I mean, getting god level zombies is a pretty horrifying thing to add. And now you have excuses for superpowered beings being turned, because now you've got god strength beings who can now pierce probably pretty super strong skin. So pretty horrifying ideas in general. And was this the end of the episode where they finally make it into orbit to get help? I can't remember. Did we already?
No, I think that happened. Was it the end of this? Oh yeah, it was because they take the Asgardian ship and fling themselves into space. Because we leave it because Thor finally wakes his shit up and decides to join the fight. And obviously we're left with him fighting off the zombie Asgardians. And then he has a one-on-one showdown with Wanda.
God. And that leads to another horrifying figure. There's some terrifying figures in this project. And Namor, Wanda, and then Thor. Oh.
Wanda just busts out of a nice normal look, and she's like, "I'm back to terrifying witch zombie Wanda," and just has that fight with Thor at the end, which was pretty epic, to be fair, because Thor's like sacrificing himself essentially so they can escape after 5 years of being a mopey bastard. So it's about time he got his arse and did some work. Lazy bastard, honestly.
Seriously, just sitting there.
But yeah, so they get launched into space at the end of this episode, and this is where essentially we find out that they get obviously beyond the atmospheric anomaly caused from the Wakanda event, and they go to send the signal out, and they're just like thinking something isn't right because the signal's already been received by the Nova Corps, and they're like, even if it should take a couple of weeks to get there, this shouldn't be instant. And then it turns out they've had the planet surrounded for years because they knew what was going on and basically quarantined Earth, and they're not here to help. Fuck the Nova Corps, man.
That was a good twist, though. That was a nice little. It felt like a horror movie where it's a classic. You're set up. There's survival. There's escape right there, and you go, "Oh, the military's gonna save us," and then you find out it's the military running this whole thing, or some kind of reveal like that. So finding out that the Nova Corps have in fact been there the entire time and are not their salvation, they're there to make sure they don't escape. That was a dark twist on things. So I like that little surprise there.
Yeah, that was good. They're forced back to the planet, aren't they? And they're like, right, the only Wanda's ready to make her move on Hulk and to claim the Infinity Powers for herself. So, all roads lead to Paris, strangely enough. So not Wakanda, where the whole event happened in the first place. Hulk is now standing at the bottom of this pit in Paris, a destroyed Paris, which means probably my lovely home of the UK was probably destroyed as well.
Probably.
Especially since I live on the south coast, so close enough to France, fuckers. But yeah, weird that we end up in Paris, because this is nowhere near Africa, so I don't know why all of a sudden the destination changed, but this is where we are, this is where Hulk is. And so all roads lead to there. So the survivors that we've got, which I'm trying to think who it was that we had it at this moment in time. So we had Spider-Man and the head of Ant-Man still flying around from the original Zombies episode from What If. We've got, was Ironheart dead at this stage?
Yeah, they went to Camouflage is where they ran into everybody to kind of get some all the sorcerers.
Oh, that was it, yeah. God, my notes are shocking. Sorry, mate.
Been a while, man.
So yeah, and so obviously we've got Moonlight Blade, we've got Alexei, obviously Ms. Marvel, as we said, and Thor does show up back at this point as well during the battle. But basically, Wanda sends all hands in to go and fight the Hulk. And like you said earlier when we were talking about him, he is there just like smashing waves of zombies out the way with one punch and stuff. But the dude is like the Infinity Cosmic combined, so he could have just rewritten reality and wiped them all out instantly. But don't know why. Obviously, that would be too easy for the plot.
Right, and it would. They just could have done some more, again, some type of thunderclap where the zombies, I don't know, reality changes them back into normal people, or do some crazy, creative, unique thing that changes the pace of the battle instead of just swinging left and right.
especially when Wanda keeps saying that, you know, she's obviously feeling the line of she wants to get the infinity cosmic power so she can put the world back to normal and change reality and set everything straight again. We're like, okay, so why hasn't Hulk done that then? If he's got the ability to use them, he could have done that himself. The only time he uses the thunderclap is when Abomination comes up to him, isn't it? And he like thunderclaps him away with a bunch of zombies.
Yes,
I
think so.
But he wipes Abomination out pretty easily. To be fair, this whole scene when they're like, you know, don't let Wanda touch Hulk, essentially, kind of reminds me of the final fight scenes in like Age of Ultron when they're like, don't let any of the Ultron bots hit the thing and let the asteroid descend. This is essentially the same premise. Like, don't let Wanda touch Hulk, keep them all away from him. And we get various battles. Like we said, that she's throwing everything at it. We get the Asgardians show up in their ships as well. And then zombie Thor shows up and has another showdown with Hulk, like Ragnarok Part 2.
Yeah.
And he literally, again, gets the shit smashed out of him. This time smushing his face on the pavement instead on the ground. So that's Thor gone.
I never thought I would see Thor's skull squished into the ground that violently ever. So that was a sight to see. Yeah, that was a fun fight though, just because Thor was so terrifying. Him coming down, it's just like, who the hell's gonna stop this guy? Like, again, because going back to that, this isn't just a mindless zombie. This is like Thor Rage Virus with Wanda powers backing him. Now he's got red lightning, which was a cool little art design too. I thought it looked pretty savage. That was fun. That was just the idea of Wanda bringing god zombies to fight Infinity Hulk is a pretty wild sentence in itself. So the concept of it was cool. There were some cool fight scenes, but I felt like they could have definitely delivered more in this final episode.
Was it just because of the fact that it's Infinity Hulk and he could just do so much more, instantly, rather than, or is he just stuck in like the Hulk dumbass? Like, because Hulk's obviously treated as not particularly intelligent, so is Hulk's just thing like, I fight, so I just fight. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to really use the Infinity Stones to their maximum potential.
Right. And then maybe that's the case. I guess maybe you shouldn't have Thanos zombie Thanos learning how to do and use those things if Infinity Hulk can't. But I don't know. It's Hulk, so there is always that aspect of it. I guess I thought overall the setup for this final battle was pretty sweet, and I felt like it was hit and miss as far as the execution of this final battle.
So then as we come to the end of the battle, Wanda starts making her move on Hulk, and we do get obviously a bit of a fight there, but then obviously Kamala shows up and Wanda's trying to convince her, because she's like, Wanda's obviously slowly wearing down Hulk and he's getting tired and wearing himself out, which again, it's slightly ridiculous perhaps. Hulk should have infinite stamina, really. Especially if you're backed by cosmic power like that. But Wanda's obviously starting to beat him, and Kamala's trying to stop her. And she's like telling Kamala that she's the reason that she's been drawn to this all along, and she's part of her big plan for helping heal the planet and stuff. Which we never really told what that was as well. Whether it was just obviously Wanda trying to talk her down to get her on side, or if she did actually have a plan to use her. That's been left as a bit of a mystery. Which, we were left on a cliffhanger, so we're presumably getting season 2. I know that it's been talked about, not been officially confirmed, but they keep saying, "Oh, there's talks about season 2." Well, you fucking better, because you left it on a stupid cliffhanger. And then the fact that Kamala essentially gives in and allows Wanda to then take the power. And it does the whole thing, doesn't it? The classic, the white screen, and Kamala wakes up and everything's okay. New York's back to normal, and Kate's there, and Riri's there, and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden she starts having that thing. It's like being in the Matrix in a way, isn't it? Like you're waking up, everything's fine, and then you start getting flashes of the real world start coming in. Yeah. And she's seeing zombies still going around, and there's fights happening and stuff. And then all of a sudden, Riri's there. And she's like, I'm trying to hack into the signal to wake you up. Like, you've got to wake up. You've got to get out of it. It's like, okay, Neo, I'm coming. Don't worry.
Right.
And then the episode, and that's where we get, obviously, that's where it leaves it. That's where the episode ends, on that cliffhanger. So what was your thoughts on the way they've tried to set up a cliffhanger ending, but the way that they've left it in such mystery with the role that Wanda seemed to want Kamala to play, and then why has she just left her in this weird dream state where she supposedly everything was okay, but Riri's hacking through the signal to get through to her.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I feel about the ending of it. I think overall, I wasn't. I think it could have been done better. But as far as this questioning reality type of twist at the end, kind of like we got with Ant-Man in Quantumania, where he's walking down the street and then wait a second, this isn't a happy ending. Like everything's terrible. It felt like that, but it also felt like just WandaVision with zombies. I mean, Wanda just pulled a WandaVision again, right? Just on a much larger scale. Instead of just a town, she WandaVisioned the entire zombie world. Or, did she? I don't know. There's a couple of different possibilities, I guess, as far as how this goes and where we're going. But I would imagine there's going to be a second season. They did it as a cliffhanger. And I'm imagining, Wanda just WandaVisioned everybody. I don't know how Riri would be hacking into Kamala's consciousness if she was being WandaVisioned. So it wasn't amazing for me. I get what they're going for, but it didn't end, hit the credits, and I was like, oh damn, dude, I wonder what's like. It was kind of like, oh, so maybe it wasn't even real, or all right, well, I guess we'll see. But it didn't blow me away. But how did you? Because I feel like there's been a torn reaction to this online as far as if people like this decision. So how did you feel about it?
I don't like things being left on cliffhangers, because it seems that like everything is left like that nowadays. No one can wrap up a series and give it a proper ending and then just start the next season fresh. I always go back to like Stargate SG-1, for example. The first half of the seasons, because obviously it ran for 10 seasons, and for the first 3, 4, 5 seasons, they used to wrap everything up in the season finale and then just start the next season afresh with new storylines, what's going on. And just do it that way. And then after that, they started, everything got left on a cliffhanger and you had to finish the story off at the start of the next season. And so everything just seems to do that now, and it pisses me off to such a large degree, because I'm like, I want this story completed. I might die before the next season comes out, and I'm not going to know the end of the fucking story. So why can't you just wrap everything up in one go and just start off if you want to do a second season, then come up with a better story to tell in the next season.
Right. That's the thing. Like, are you excited about a story that they could tell in the second season at this point?
I mean, the problem is I was quite, me, because we covered some What If on my old show as well. I was quite an advocate of What If. I really enjoyed season 1. I thought season 1, to be fair, out of the 3 seasons was the best, because season 2 was awful and season 3 was okay and had some good moments, but season 1 was by far the best because it was a cohesive joint storytelling, even though everything was kind of had its own story at the same time. And zombies being part of that, I thought this is a really good chance for them to get graphic as well, and they do obviously get graphic at some points. But they could have gone a lot further. And the problem for me with this season of Zombies is that episodes 2 and 3 felt like random What If episodes, like the later What If episodes where it was just rubbish storytelling and not cohesive and didn't really tie into anything. Whilst it's a continuing storyline, and some parts of it, like we said, like the Namor bits and whatever were terrifying and stuff like that. But at the same point, it felt like What If episodes rather than a Marvel zombie series. And that kind of just annoyed me a little bit, because I thought this had the potential to be really, really good and really graphic, and you could tie in a lot more to it. I know a lot of stupid people online were just like, "Whoa, where's the Avengers? What happened to them? Why really saw Captain America? What's cracking?" If you saw what happened, there's literally an episode that sets up this entire series of What If. So, you go and watch that. That's what happened to the Avengers. Use your brain a little bit, people, to go and watch this. Don't just be fucking lazy and go, "Why was I not shown at the start of this what happened to the Avengers?" Because we've already seen it.
And why would you focus on Avengers characters at this point in the MCU? They're gone now. Why would we make Captain America and Iron Man the main focus of these series?
I guess because they're treating it like a What If, because it is essentially a season of What If, that you could bring them back.
You could.
But we focused so heavily on season 1 with those alternative original Avengers stories. So we had Black Widow and Hawkeye feature quite a lot in that season 1 and stuff like that, and Thor and others. So obviously they want to move on to the characters they're using nowadays, which is exactly what they've done. And even but they all, like What If, they missed out on such a chance to give us alternate characters that could be so badass. We got the best was Moonlight Blade. That was fucking badass, and they had an opportunity to do more things like that, and they didn't. They just gave us the standard MCU versions of everyone. And so they missed the trick on that front. Yeah. They literally like missed out on such a big thing there to make this a grand spectacle and make it so badass, because it's animated. You don't need anyone to do it. You just get having the people voice them that needed to, because you're obviously getting the actual MCU actors to voice the majority of them. At the same point, it didn't feel as spectacular as it could have been, and I was really disappointed. Yeah, as a big what if person, I was just really disappointed by the fact that this could have been so much more. And even like the final battle, as we said, like, you know, the zombie horde versus the survivors and Hulk, they gave everyone some pretty gruesome deaths at times, especially towards the end of that episode when pretty much everyone gets killed off apart from like Kamala and Hulk, which was quite fun to see. Because even then, like, Khonshu's like, I'm not going to die, but obviously my avatar's just died. Let me go and find someone else who's not dead yet to take on my new avatar. But even then, they still miss out on opportunities when they're playing down to it and setting up a sequel, when it's just like, can't you just wrap the story up here? And then you can still have the next season being like some people have survived, or the Nova Corps, or other heroes that we've seen in the MCU from outer space. You could have the Guardians, or what's left of the Guardians, come down and fight Wanda and the zombies. Make that a separate story. Don't have to end on a cliffhanger. I just get so annoyed with cliffhangers nowadays, because everything is a cliffhanger. Yeah. It's so rare to see a season wrapped up in whole and then just start the next season fresh that I'm tired of that. It's just such a trope now that it actually used to got me a little bit riled up now at this day. I'm just it pisses me off.
I mean, Werewolf by Night was great because it felt like a original contained story, start to finish. Okay, great, we got the story. That was cool, and it was a fresh, original, and that doesn't happen a lot in Marvel. So yeah, that was disappointing. And I think, although I said the Kamala use worked better than I thought, which it did, it worked better than I expected it to, I still think that was a major reason why it felt like a What If Connection episode. It still felt like the TV 14 for a lot of the time, because it was led by Kamala and seeing the different young Avengers that we follow. Despite the gruesome deaths, we're still following around these teenage girls and we're doing this and that. Whereas, man,
Dave, why are you following around teenage girls? Come on, mate.
Are we not? Were you not? Was that not what we were doing? Like, if we would have had Mahershala Ali's character be the lead in this story, like, they could have taken a much darker tone at that. I just think it was, again, a case, and you already said it, but it was a case of a lot of opportunity and they fell short. The trailers had me hyped. Seeing Spider-Man ripping off 8 heads at once with his webs, like, the trailer had me absolutely hyped, and it kind of just went downhill from there. Overall, I still enjoyed it for the most part. It was an entertaining, fun little thing to watch. But I think it fell short of what it could have been. And it was, if I had to put it in either met expectations or disappointing, it's going to be in the disappointing category.
Yeah, I have to sadly agree. I know the MCU and like the main MCU timeline has stepped away from, while everything is still connected, everything's more contained stories. And they used to leave everything tied up, but would have a post-credit scene linking everything up to the next thing, or the next teaser to go, oh, this is going to be happening next. You know, like the end of like Captain America Winter Soldier, when you see obviously like Wanda and Pietro being held by Hydra, for example. So that, the Captain America storyline there is tied up with, obviously, okay, Bucky's out in the wind, and you drop that teaser for Age of Ultron, but the story's still tied up for Captain America in that film. There's no need to really drop this off as a tease for a season, or leave it hanging into a season 2 when it's an animated show like this, because you can do what the fuck you want. This is, I think, where they failed here so much, is that because it's animated, you can do. So I think this is what the criticism of the late seasons of What If as well, wasn't it? And the fact that you can do so much because you can give us such random characters, and we even saw some of the the preview promotional art that they did, where it was like random characters mix matched with other characters to give you like new characters, because it's the multiverse is infinite earth. You can give us so many random characters from it and so many random stories, and you just have failed to do that here. And to leave it on that weird cliffhanger, when we suspected Riri was supposed to be dead, and then she's kind of not. It's all too Matrixy at the end for me. It really was.
And just to summarize what you said, as far as what Marvel used to do, they completed the Winter Soldier story and then they teased the next story. It's one thing to wrap up a story and tease the next one. It's
Mm.
another thing to start a story and tease the ending of it at the end instead of giving us an ending and teasing where we're going next. And that seems to be, it's just stop teasing the ending. Tell us the story. Like,
it's not even like they're teasing the ending. They've given you an ending, but that hasn't ended, and then they make a whole new series out of the ending of the previous season.
Right.
It's like, oh my god, it just winds me up. But yeah, unfortunately, because of that as well, like you said, it puts it into the more disappointing range rather than the zombie Marvel animated itch has been scratched. Not that I want to have a zombie itch anywhere on my body, but.
Probably scratch it pretty well. Yeah.
You can scratch my itch anytime, Dave. It's all good.
There you go. And I just wanted to see. It got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. I was curious what the fan reception was with it. That's probably about where I'd put it. 7.
I think. Well, remember, I mean, we've talked about obviously ratings out of 10 a bit recently in our group chats and stuff. And I think a 7 is maybe
6.
a touch too high. Yeah, it's closer to a 6 for me.
Yeah.
On the range, it's just about average because there were definitely some cool moments in it, but it wasn't as cool as it could have been, unfortunately. So yeah, it gets that 6 out of 10 for me. I mean, season 2. Then, what do you want to see out of a season 2? Everything we just talked about. I guess.
Like, I don't. Yeah, like I don't know. To me, they're gonna continue the story. They're not just gonna give us another standalone what if zombie story. They're gonna continue this Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan and Riri Williams story. And I think that's the problem. I don't have anything I want to see coming out of season 2. I would have just liked for them to end the story right there. So I guess if I had to choose something, I mean, I don't know. I guess Wanda Zombie is still out there. Thor Zombie is dead. Never mind. I don't know where you go from this point, and I don't really think I care. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have a hope for this?
It's a hard one because you've killed off so many people now. Because it's 5 years after the zombie virus is out. 70% of the heroes are zombies or dead. Probably more than 70%. I was probably being generous with 70%. So it's like, who can you bring in that's going to be fascinating? Obviously, Kamala and Riri are going to play a part in the next season alongside Wanda. But like, who else can you put in there now? Is Wanda going to bend reality and all the people that were killed off in the finale of season 1 are brought back? Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Shang-Chi, and all the rest are all brought back because Wanda can bend reality to that point. Because if she's sucked up all the Infinity Powers, she technically can fix the Earth, but that's obviously not the route she's going to go down. She's going to go in. I think maybe they go more galactic in season 2. They obviously deal with Kamala and Riri in their situation, but I wonder if you've got to expand the threat, because if Wanda's got the cosmic Infinity Powers, then she's going to go galactic or universal. Right. And that's the only way, is that you bring in the Nova Corps more into it. If they're quarantined Earth, bring in other planets, and maybe you can bring in not the Skrulls. Who are the other ones?
No, God. Is it Spartax?
No, the blue dudes. You know who I mean, from Captain Marvel.
Oh, the Kree.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Every time I'm about to say it, you could bring in the Kree into it as like the next foe to fight, and just stuff like that. If you're going to do this, when Wanda's got cosmic infinity powers, you bring in a galactic force, not just the heroes on Earth.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to see going in season 2. If we're going to go anywhere, let's go down that route. Let's finally squash Wanda once and for all.
I agree. Yeah, give us the Shi'ar Empire with Gladiator. Give us all the crazy other intergalactic beings out there, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to see Kate and Kamala's story continued. So, yeah, that's where
bring in the Celestials, bring in everyone.
Yeah. Which, by the way, real quick, I just realized I've never even seen this 3rd season of What If. I didn't even know it came out, or when it did, I wasn't paying attention. But I'm looking at all the episode titles, and I haven't seen any of these.
Really?
So I guess I'm going
to give it a check. About it.
I thought we did, but I mean, Howard the Duck.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, definitely. I remember us chatting about season 2 now, because obviously we're talking about how influential Captain Carter was in season 2. Don't watch the end of season 3 then.
She's back, huh? Oh, there it is. Yep, Captain Carter, season 3, episode 8. So I guess I'll watch that. Yeah, I haven't watched it.
You can do. I mean, again, names. But you're just talking about the Howard the Duck episode there. Howard the Duck and Darcy from the Thor films. They have a baby together.
What?
Yeah. And it turns out to be a completely brand new character that isn't comic book related, and she's like pretty much got some of the most powerful abilities in the Marvel universe. Because somehow, an unempowered person like Darcy and Howard the Duck having a kid together creates that. You're muted, I think, mate.
Yeah, well, naturally. I guess I'll skip that episode.
Unfortunately, you need to see the character because she's relevant in the finale. But
God,
generally consider when this is one of the arguments, and like of all the things you can do with What If, of all the many stories and the many characters you could have done, why do you create an episode where Darcy and Howard hook up and have a kid?
You're listening to the wrong things, Marvel. When people said go outside the box and bring multiple characters into different stories we've never heard, we didn't want Howard the Duck impregnating Darcy. What are we? Wow. Okay. I can't believe I didn't hear of this until now.
Fucking bonkers. It literally is one of the most bonkers things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Anyway, that was our coverage of Marvel Zombies. If you haven't had your Sunday fill of Wise As It Is, why not? We've got plenty of filling that we can give you. Right. Join us in, well, not David particularly, maybe myself, but at minimum, you can join JD and Caleb in a few hours' time at 2 p.m. PST. They've got a Week in Geek. If I'm still alive in 3.5 hours' time, I might jump on with them. Dave, unfortunately, is booked up. He's got some useless things to be doing on his lovely Sunday afternoon.
This is true.
So, yeah, and if you're about 3.5 hours' time, 2 p.m. PST, join us back on YouTube, where JD and Caleb and possibly myself for some nerd news of everything that's been going on over the last week or so. But apart from that, we've still got some things upcoming. We've got some really cool nerd therapies on the way. We've got maybe some coverage of Gen V coming up as well. It's getting towards the end of the year, so we'll be getting the results of the box office competition that the guys have been doing. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, but nothing's ever settled in stone unless Wicked for Good becomes one of the best grossing movies of all time. I think this one might be in the bag. Do you care about the Wicked films, just out of interest?
No, that's Caleb in our podcast. He just went and saw the second one in theaters, actually. No, I will say, I didn't watch the first one. Love The Wizard of Oz. I saw the trailer for the second one, and I was like, that kind of looks epic, actually. Showed you a little side shot of the lion, the Tin Man and Dorothy about to talk to the wizard, and I was like, man, this looks kind of cool. But apparently it's awful, so I will be watching it.
One of the most overhyped movies of recent times, simply because I went to the cinema twice in the last few weeks to see Predator, the Predator film, Badlands, and The Running Man. And there were 2 trailers for Wicked for Good and 2 adverts that focused on it as well. So I had to put up with essentially 4 previews of Wicked for Good before I got to see the film I went to see. And if that isn't enough to make you want to walk out, then I was pretty damn close. Because I don't give a shit. It's not my cup of tea. So I didn't really care about it. But having it jammed down your throat 4 times in 20 minutes before you're getting to see the film you actually want to see.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I mean, I'm not a musical guy. I haven't even seen Joker 2 yet, actually. It's been on HBO, and I just haven't found the urge to watch it. So, yeah.
But, we've got some things to look forward to. Stranger Things is out in a few days, which is going to be really good. If you give a shit about it, Avatar's out next month. 3 hours and 90 minutes of repeated stories. It's absolutely fine. Apart from that, like I said, box office update coming soon because that's almost over and done with. But that means we're getting into the new year and the annual Cities Awards will be back as well, which will be even fun this year because I'm part of it. So having a slightly different perspective on what's been happening for the year. It's been a decent year actually for things overall. So I think last year it was a bit short, wasn't it? Because there wasn't that much going on last year, whereas this year there's been quite a bit going on.
Movies was horrible last year for our categories. Like it was slim pickings. So this year should be fun for both movies and shows.
I think it's going to be a good Cities Awards, to be fair.
Yeah.
And a new, probably updated round of the box office drafts, because
Yeah.
obviously I've created many problems. By joining the group, and Dave's got to rejig around how exactly we do everything.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to rearranging some stuff to make it a little bit more exciting.
And there's
too.
some
And it's
big
gonna
shit
be-
going on next year as well. So whether we include them, do we not include them? Because whoever gets like Doomsday is just going to win everything, and like
Right.
don't even need any other films in your arsenal. You got Doomsday there, and that's pretty much like 90% of your box office sorted. Like Dune Messiah, what's going on? Mandalorian and Grogu, is that going to do over $1 billion? Like, so
And
we've
at
got to
least
take
there's
these into
multiple.
consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this year we cut out Avatar because it was like, it was going to be one movie that's going to break 2 billion, and that's absolute positive. At least next year there's a handful of stuff. So yeah, we got a lot of planning and talking and rules laying out to do and voting on, but it'll be fun. It's going to be a fun year for sure.
It's going to be amazing. So thank you for joining us, guys. So join us in about 2.5 hours for some Week in Geek. But until that, we will see you next time. Take it easy, guys.